Hello, welcome to this episode of my Game Boy collection. In the previous episode, I stated that there is a surprise installed for you. I was not referring to the new opening theme, but a new subdivision of the series in general. This will run along with the previous section, the Game Boy and Game Boy Color collection, as I am not done with that either. As the series progresses in chronological order, it was time I included my Game Boy Advance collection in the series as well. When we left this series, I was around 14 years old, and I got 12 Game Boy games of my collection. In all honesty, there were other games that I got here and there from time to time, but I will make a video about the lost games, if you will, once the series had been accomplished. But all in all, my collection was stamped for many years. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I never played with my Game Boy anymore. It's just that I got in a Game Boy lethargy, if you will, by which I mean I didn't get any new games for several years, and I just kept playing with the ones I got on my collection, or any other I could get my hands on by a friend. And indeed, my collection was pretty much stuck on around 12 games for a long time. This all changed when I was around 20 years old. I was in college back then, having a great time and without a care in the world, so to be honest, this was a great setting to rekindle my love for Nintendo. The chance came when I stumbled upon an electronics junk shop, if you will, a place with a lot of used video games and consoles, with low prices obviously. The shop had a large variety of video games and they were sold relatively cheaply. Among the consoles was a Game Boy Advance SP. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I always wanted to get one of this, but I never got the chance, seeing that, as a minor, my parents did most of my buying for me. But at the age of 20, I was master of my own coin, if you will, and I could not lightly pass an opportunity like that. So I bought the console and the game with it, my first Game Boy Advance game, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Now, first things first, let's talk about the Game Boy Advance. Manufactured and marketed as the Game Boy Color successor, the Game Boy Advance had a lot going on for it. Released in 2001, not only did it have a larger screen, more buttons, and most importantly, full backwards compatibility, it also came with a great game library. The Game Boy Advance game library is by far superior to the Game Boy Color, and even comparable to the original Game Boy library, if not better. The reason was that it got a lot of game ports from other consoles like the NES, the Super NES, and even some classical Amiga games. The nostalgia was strong in this one, but not only that, it has some great games on it as well. All in all, it is one of the best selling consoles of all time and well worth it too. Especially the SP version with the backlight screen was pretty much the best you can get on a Game Boy for years, and it still checks out today. Now, back in the game. The fact that I picked this game as my first Game Boy Advance game was not a coincidence at all. The Lord of the Rings trilogy started with the Fellowship of the Ring, which hit theaters worldwide on the 19th of December 2001. My brother and I were actually on that premiere, in what could be undoubtedly one of the best experiences in my life, top 10 at the very least. I was literally blown away. I still keep that ticket coupon from that night as a memento. We managed to get to all three movies premieres. I cannot stress out the impact that this movie and the books had and still have on my life. They've got a milestone position on it, and I've been a Tolkien fan ever since. When the movies were released, an array of video games emerged as well, as the fandom of Tolkien was witnessing an immense rising. Along with Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings was the thing of the 2000s. Everyone knew about them. The Fellowship of the Ring got a video game that was not based on the movie though. It was released with the aid of Tolkien Enterprises and was not affiliated with the movies, and as it was closer to the books. However, when Two Towers hit theaters, EA Games got the rights to make a game that was directly linked to the movies. Since Fellowship of the Ring was off the table, the game treats important moments of the first movie as a flashback, and so the game is more like a two-in-one kind of thing. The Two Towers video game was released on the Game Boy Advance as well, and it is a great game. It has a lot going on for it, and it is more than a generic game about a movie that would normally have. First of all, you get to play as 5 different characters: Aragorn, Gandalf, Frodo, Legolas and Eowyn. Except for Aragorn and Legolas, all characters have a mostly unique storyline, so the gaming experience changes from character to character. The game has many influences of another great game and an all-time favorite of mine, Diablo. As you progress, you find items with different attributes, you gain experience by slaying orcs, and find gems that can be traded for goods in certain points of the game, just like Diablo. When your characters level up, you get to choose new skills and augment their prowess. The game is really great on that perspective. The gameplay is really easy and pretty much straightforward. You keep on to a path until you get to the next stage, while the story progresses. If you get too much attention on you, the Eye of Sauron is enhanced, and the Ringwraiths might show up and kill you, which is a nice touch from the books and movies. The game has some good graphics and music too, mostly taken from the movie, which is really great. You can play it again and again, in even higher levels of difficulty. I think it is a must-have for the Game Boy Advance. So anyway, here we are. Let's see how our list goes now. As you can see, and you might have figured out by now, this is a completely new list. My Game Boy Advance collection is comprised of 25 games in total. Once again, we get the chronological list order and the ranked list. The ranked list was also separated into 5 distinct categories. The categories are not the same as the Game Boy and Game Boy Color collection, but have some new twist on them. 2 of these new categories are dedicated to the NES and Super NES games ported on the Game Boy Advance. There's one category about the Lord of the Rings. This is where the Two Towers falls into. There's also the Amiga category. In this category there are games that were ported from the Commodore Amiga. And finally we have the comic section, which is the only one in common with the original Game Boy collection. Since this is the first video of this collection, the Two Towers ranks on the top of all the lists, as they are far from complete right now. But as in the Game Boy collection, the list will be updated with every new video. So every Sunday there will be a new installment of the series, the Game Boy collection, and it might be part of my Game Boy and Game Boy Color collection or part of my Game Boy Advance collection. So stay tuned and see what the next game will be and on what list it goes. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and this channel, make sure you subscribe and consider supporting me on Patreon. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this series and my channel in general. Cheers!